We have to celebrate today a credit to our nation, a man who, by his sterling worth and firm determination, parried the bludgeonings of fate and triumphed in disaster, would not be beaten by events, but proved himself their master. He helped himself when things were hard, did valiant Herbert Appleyard. In his bed-sitter, Herbert strove to keep his standards high, though scanty income often drove this modest man to sigh. He could not dine on caviar, turkey and strawberry ices, but learned where he could buy his beans and cod at keenest prices. Bert was no complacent man who settled in a groove. He read books from the library, his knowledge to improve. To learn more history and such, he leafed through massive tomes, and in his weekend wanderings, he went to stately homes. Our story starts in one of these, one Sunday afternoon, when with a horde of tourists he caught a coach, and soon a feast of culture spread before his interested eyes. Silver and glassware, books and more of every shape and size. He looked about him keenly, for good antiques agog. To help him recognize them, he'd bought a catalogue. They trailed up to the attics, bought postcards in the hall, admired the 14th Duchess dressed for her first ball, and dainty Dresden china in cupboards on the wall. Thus do the half-crown spenders augment the frugal board of many a splendid mansion owned by a noble lord. Whilst gloating o'er the silver and antique Brussels lace, a snivelling kid comes up to him, fat tears upon his face. His kindly heart was touched at once. He begged to know what plight could turn a happy little lad into so sad a sight. "I've lost me tanner," whined the child, and then the little duffer showed how he'd shoved his precious coin into a candle snuffer. Bert took the thing and raised it up. No coin dropped out. Bert shook the thing. Time and again he tried. "It must have stuck," she said, and then, alas, he peered inside. What happened next's a mystery, an error, I suppose, for in that fateful instant it had stuck fast on his nose. "Quick, pull," gasped Herbert, turning red. "Your turn to help me, lad." He pulled and tugged without result, then ran to fetch his dad. Poor Herbert was in agony, and doubled up with pain. "Brace up, old man," the kid's dad said. "I'll twist it up again." He twisted once, he twisted twice, while braced against Bert's head, then muttered quite disgustedly, "Must be a left-hand thread." "I know," said Joe, the kid's old man. Bert's eyes lit up with hope. "We want to lather it all round with plenty of good soap." "Come on," he said, and took the boy. "We'll try at all events. Let's go and fetch a cake of soap. There'll be some in the gents." They ran there with the speed of light. The fact there was no soap in sight will scarcely come as startling news to you who frequent English loos. Poor Herbert stood irresolute, feeling a perfect clot. Joe hadn't any more ideas. He never had a lot. Behind a catalogue Bert cowered, hoping the light was dim and that the avid sightseers would miss the sight of him. Then, "Quick, Joe, Albin, what a fuss!" All thought of Herbert's plight had flown. "The rest are leaving. There's the bus." They fled, and he was left alone. Thought Bert, "This object's not my perks. I'd better take it straight away down to the Ministry of Works. They'll give an ear to what I say." It was not usual to see unscheduled visitors from town. The clerk put down his cup of tea, and coolly looked Bert up and down. "I fear I'm rather in the dark about the value of this piece," thus coldly spoke the office clerk. "A value that damage could decrease. I couldn't rightly undertake to wrench it from you with a tool. For all I know, the thing would break, and I would pay. I'm not a fool. Those things were made in 13.3, and also early 13.4. I haven't the authority to act. and I can do no more." "But what about my nose?" moaned Bert. "I don't care for your damned antique. Can't you imagine it would hurt? Or what it's like to feel a freak?" "Write to the departmental head at once if you don't want to wait." And to the closing door he said, "And make sure it's in triplicate." "I wonder who I'd better ask," thought Herbert sadly as he left, "to undertake this ticklish task. Someone with skill, with fingers deft, for dealing with a metal thing. A modern sculptor, I suppose. Artistically brisk, he'd bring rapid relief to my poor nose." Strange shapes stood on the sculptor's bench. It speaks well for the cultured mind of Mr. Herbert Appleyard that interest in them he could find. The sculptor laughed as he walked in. His fat sides heaved, for he was stout. "To take that off would be a sin. You look so cool, man, so way out. I tell you what I'll gladly do if you would stand still over there. I'll make a lightning sketch of you to do in bronze. We'll make 'em stare. Curious man. Good title, that. Inquisitive. Is that more apt? I love the old symbolic chat. Marvellous line." He stood there, rapt. "I didn't come for fun," snapped Bert. "Merely to ask you for your aid." "No need," the man said, "to be curt. You'll love your model once it's made. Please help me. Use your skill with tools." "But you're unique. That can't be bad." But Bert was growing tired of fools and told him straight, "I think you're mad." And turning, stumbling on his feet, hurried frustrated down the street. He would seek medical advice to end his shameful degradation. Take refuge in a hospital. He'd even welcome amputation. "I'd operate," the doctor said, "if I could only get a bed. The hospital is full, you see, for all except emergency." "I'll pay," said Bert. "I've got the brass. I feel so daft." "Oh, that will pass with use, you know," the doctor said. "The thing does not obscure your head. It's not a question of your wealth. You are, let's face it, in good health. I cannot for the life of me list you as an emergency." Despondent, Herbert turned to leave. "Wait, sir," he heard. "If you insist on treatment, I can recommend you go to a psychiatrist. Here is the number of my friend. If you keep quiet about your wealth, he'll see you on the National Health." Recumbent on the usual couch, Bert lay for his first session. "It's obvious," his mentor said. "Your feelings of aggression, depressed within since babyhood, burst out and left the track. You've got this weapon on your nose to use in an attack. I can't, of course, get that thing off. It's not my job to try. Why is it there?" He gave a cough. "That is the question I, with all my vast experience of maladjusted folk, can answer if you give me time your past life to invoke. I think we'll try hypnosis next. By one means or another, I am sure we'll find you're harboring a hatred of your mother." "Oh no," said Bert. "It wasn't meant. I want it to be gone. I got it on by accident." No use in going on. The doctor, in a happy trance of psychiatric thought, had quite forgotten Bert's distress when his advice he'd sought. Bert left the couch whereon he lay, and, quite unnoticed, slipped away. "The world has left me in the lurch," thought Herbert miserably. "The sanctuary of the church is all that's left for me." His spirit filled with mild elation to glimpse the tower through the trees. For simple help and consolation, Our hero longed to bend his knees. "Help me," begged Herbert. "Padre, please." He didn't know his death aid hung uselessly down as if to tease.
"Is this a penance, sir, for sin? You try to mortify the flesh. It is unwise thus to begin. You'd better stop and start afresh. Go to it, lad. No, let me speak. That looks a valuable antique. Don't break it when you prize it loose. Intact, that thing's a good investment. Broken, it isn't any use. And, by the way, when you are gone, it can be useful still to our dear parish of St. John. So leave it in your will."
"I want it off," yelled Bert again, "for comfort while it's on."
"Goodbye,"
The vicar smiles again, "if you must now be gone." Bert, glad the thing obscures his face, consigns him to the other place. Wrapped in dark thoughts, Bert Appleyard turned home on weary feet. "No one in all the world will help," he thought. "I'm fairly beat." "Hi, watch it, mate," he heard a voice. He soon found out its cause. He'd jabbed his nose into a chap reading the soccer scores. "Sorry," said Bert. "Forgive me, please. I do apologise." "'Struth," said this character. "How come you've got a nose that size?" When Bert explained, the fellow's face grew crumpled with compassion. "Hold on," he said. "I'll drill some holes. 'Twill help after a fashion." He hunted in his bag of kit and came up with a brace and bit. He drilled those holes after a tussle. Bert thought he must be made of muscle. After, though feeling worse for wear, at least he wasn't short of air. Home like a whipped dog, Herbert slunk, by many a lonely alley, not knowing he was heading for his lifetime's big reveille. Slumped in his chair with thoughts of death, he sighed a special sort of breath. It issued from the holes so clear, the sweetest music one could hear. Skillfully breathing through his nose, sweet melodies began to flow. New tunes he found he could compose, old tunes that all his friends would know. Happily Herbert waltzed and dreamed, forgetting all his shame and fear, smiling to think he had the edge on chaps who merely play by ear. How to describe the sound it made? Herbert, whose hearing was acute, assessed his novel instrument between a piccolo and a flute. Happily Herbert blew some more. Sweet Adeline was his encore. Before he'd brewed a pot of tea, he'd played Flight of the Bumblebee. Well, that was it. Delighted, proud, our Herbert longed to please the crowd. In next to no time, he was down playing for singing at the Crown. Raising their glasses, boozers all joined in the choruses with ease, relieved that their first sight of Bert was not a symptom of DTs. An agent drinking at the pub signed him a star turn at a club. From that day on he'd made his name, and now from Manchester to Soho the word is all of a Herbert's fame, a nasal organ virtuoso. Shot in a flash by this new racket into the highest income bracket. Where previously no one cared, men now looked envious and stared. Now indulged in all he'd craved. I'll leave this thought to tease your mind. Search through your books, and you will find the truest words upon your shelves. The Lord helps those who help themselves.